Ready, hunt!
A great win for the Sooners, but it comes at a price. I'm Barry Tramel along with Travis Haney. We're here at Owen Field. We're on Saturday. Oklahoma routs Texas A&M 41-25, led 41-10 early in the fourth quarter. But All-American wide receiver Ryan Broyles lost for the season with a torn ACL. Travis, how will this team replace Ryan Broyles?
I don't think that you can. I mean, you're talking about the NCAA leader in catches, a guy who was probably going to set the yardage total for the NCAA as well. So you just don't replace a guy like that. He's open all over the field. He's open all the time. This was probably one of his poor games of the season. He had 2 catches for 87 yards, had 1 big catch early on, 56-yard that set up a touchdown, and then the 30-yarder that he winds up getting hurt on. So I just don't think he's a guy that you can possibly plan on replacing. But the good news is they have Kenny Stills. As long as he's healthy, he had a hamstring thing today, but Jazz Reynolds coming along. They have other receivers. He's not the only one-trick pony or whatever. They've got other playmakers. They've got to learn how to lean on those guys now, obviously. But Ryan Broyles is irreplaceable.
Can this team keep replacing parts? Dom Whaley goes down last week, lost for the season, starting tailback. Now Ryan Broyles. How much give does this Sooner squad have?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real test of depth right now. You mentioned Whaley. Finch comes in today and rushes for almost 100 yards, even though we weren't expecting him to have nearly 30 touches, so that was a bit surprising. But it does keep happening. Defense, Tony Jefferson out today. The guys, Jaden Bird and a couple of guys had to come in and played pretty well too. So far so good in terms of that depth, but everybody's going to be eyeballing that game December 3rd. What does all this mean for Bedlam, and how will the Sooners react in 2 weeks? They're off next week. They'll come back and play Baylor, then Iowa State, and then Bedlam. So it's all about how it comes together over the next month. But, you know, these losses, as far as injuries go, piling up, it's not a good thing for the Sooners, no question about it.
One good thing about the Sooners, they played excellent defense through 3 quarters. Texas A&M dented Oklahoma, really only with a long touchdown pass late in the first half. Sooners turned back the Aggies repeatedly, 4 turnovers. OU defense really looked good today.
Well, getting Jamel Fleming back, that's a name that we talked about. We thought it would be big for him to come back and play, now 2 weeks removed from that knee injury. He was superb. I think physically he's just as good as it gets, maybe even against the run. He takes the ball away from another guy. It seems to be his calling card in terms of what he does. They created a lot of turnovers, and you got to feel like Fleming's a big reason for that. Tom Wart goes out of the game. Jaden Bird comes in. Wart, we also think, is an important physical part of the game. So it's all about how, again, will the injuries affect this team? How will they affect this team? Today they were able to weather it against a really good A&M offense, and like you said, to keep them to 10 points through about 2.5, 3 quarters, that's a key in this game.
The Sooners played very well. Now have 2 games left before the Bedlam showdown. At Baylor, hosting Iowa State. Can they get to Bedlam with 1 loss, even without Ryan Broyles?
Well, yeah. I mean, Baylor's not playing great football, and Iowa State struggled today with Kansas. So it's out there for them. It certainly looks like this was the last test leading up to Bedlam. But we learned something, didn't we? I don't think Texas Tech was the one that we had circled on our schedules thinking, oh, well, that's where OU could trip up. So lesson learned perhaps, but you got to feel like those things are behind them, and we'll see a 1-loss Sooners team going against potentially an undefeated OSU team.
Well, look forward to it. Stay tuned for further OU football coverage every day in the Oklahoman and here on News OK.